Welcome to Beyond That. I'm Jennifer.
Hi.
Mary.
Good to see us.
This is Mr. Howahkan. Mr. Howahkan is going to pull today's question. Would you like to give a message?
Good boy.
You want to choose a message? Give a message. Oh my goodness, thank you. That's such a good boy. Such a good boy, but we gotta learn to give it to Mary.
Oh,
So Mary can read it. Oh, that's a good boy. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Conrad.
Oh, now we're gonna get praise. Praise.
I think they want a
Okay.
TREAT.
No, okay. That's good.
Okay, just one.
That's good. Only one right now.
So,
Okay, watch out.
in your book, you mentioned being shown the 8 cells of creation.
I knew this.
Can you explain more about that?
I knew this one was coming up. I actually had a dream about it this morning. Okay, so the 8 cells of creation. We're going to get all, sciencey here, but I will try and keep it as down to earth as possible.
Simple.
Oh yeah, good luck with that.
Good boy.
Okay, so what I was shown in my first near-death experience was the human body and how, we're all cells, we're parasites, microbes, bacteria, and that's what actually keeps us alive. But there are 8 cells within the sensory system of the body that are both visible and invisible. So some scientists have been able to recognize these cells, but then they go invisible. So they can't gather any scientific information on the cell itself.
And they're called sensory cells?
They're within the sensory system of the body. So
Okay.
the 8, the first one is deep inside the brain. Inaccessible, these cells are inaccessible to humans. So humans cannot tamper with these cells. They can't be tested, they can't be retrieved, they can't be studied by microscope. And the first is the crown. It goes through the crown, deep inside the brain. The second is the third eye.
Okay.
So deep within that point of that sensory third eye is another cell. Your 2 eyes as one, that's another cell that is deep embedded and connects the 2 eyes. Then you've got the ears, the nose, the throat, the heart, and the microbiome, which is the electromagnetic field around the body. So those are the 8 points to where these cells are located, but they're not surface. They're deep within that sensory organ, which makes them inaccessible. The greatest thing about the 8 cells is we don't have access over them. We cannot control them. We cannot activate them. We have no part with them whatsoever. So biologically, the body, you can mess with all the other cells, but you cannot mess with these 8 cells because they're the 8 cells of creation. They are solely and strictly tethered with the origin, and that is who activates and moves these cells.
Okay.
Or brings life to them. So no human contact whatsoever. These 8 cells are solely spiritual, the divine council's access points, which also, when activated by the Beyond, the divine council, one or more can be activated, and they're activated at certain times in people's lives. This is what happens when people have near-death out-of-body experiences, dementia, schizophrenia.
Well, we were
Yes, we were just
discussing.
talking about this.
Wow.
Personality disorder, multiple personalities.
Yeah.
So any shift to the brain that people diagnose here as a disease or an illness is not actually a disease or illness. Mental health is, they diagnose issues simply based on the fact that this person does not think in forms of conformity to society.
Yeah, normalcy.
Or they have depression or anything
Right,
like that, but
right.
they avoid looking at the spiritual aspect of it. So in the spiritual aspect of mental illness or mental diagnosis, they don't have any research or study on these 8 cells.
They don't learn that
No.
in medical school.
No. So
Wow.
these 8 cells are being activated by the spiritual world, one or more. And when it's activated, you, as the physical biological being, have more access to other parts of your brain. So let's say they came in and they activated the one deep in the brain, that cell there. That cell would open up, let's say it'll raise you up to maybe, we only use 3 to 5% of our brain's power as normal everyday functioning people. So let's say they activate that cell up there in the deep in part of the brain, and that could actually raise that person's consciousness to maybe 25%. So they're operating on 25%. Now, mind you, the higher you go in brain power use, the more quieter or reserved or locked away you become.
Okay.
So if you're at 3% functioning like us, here 3 to 5, you're present, you're functioning,
Right.
you got energy. But the higher you go, you lose that energy and you become more subdued, more withdrawn, more quiet, more laid back, because you're operating at a higher level of consciousness.
Which is so true with those diagnoses.
That's what you do in meditations.
Yeah.
That's, yes. So, and that's what, if they diagnose them with, mental problems,
Right.
that's what they're diagnosing. These people who are actually withdrawn and quiet and, not wanting to be in the world. Meditation, yogi, all that stuff. Same thing. You back off, you soothe back and get into that higher mindset of calm, peace, quiet.
Sure.
We're only loudmouths at 3 to 5%. But the higher you go, the more subdued you become.
Okay.
So anyway, near-death out-of-body experiences. This is why there's so many different visions. People experience so many different places and things. All in all, at the bottom line, we're multi-dimensional beings anyway, so we can access anywhere, any place, any time once you've reached and attained that level of understanding. So let's say Spirit decided, let's go activate Jennifer's third eye cell, that sensory cell that activates the third eye, because this is her time to wake up, this is her time to progress and ascend further. So I'd have my activation, I would go quiet, retreat, learn, receive, feel all this stuff, and likely have a trauma, an illness, an impact, or something to the body, which would send me into a near-death out-of-body experience. Now, my experience of leaving the body and going somewhere else is indicative of the coding and the chemical that is in that cell that has been activated.
Right.
So my third eye cell encoding would send me to heaven to stand in front of Michael Gabriel and Creator. Let's say they wanted to activate your ears, your ear cell, your sensory cell in your ears would maybe send you out into the universe or to heaven, and you would hear heavenly music. Let's say they would activate in someone the smell, the nose.
Sure.
That sensory organ, this person may have a near-death out-of-body experience to where they were landed in a location somewhere, and it was all based on smelling. They could smell flowers, they could smell grandma's cooking. So depending on the sensory organ that has been activated by Spirit is what actually determines how we sense our near-death out-of-body experiences. And each one will be different. I've had a couple activated at the same time, but all in all, if you want to look at the near-death out-of-body experience itself and what the person actually experiences, It's going to be based on whatever sensory organ spirit has activated within the body.
Okay.
Now, within those cells, there is a chemical that also comes into play. And like I said, this gets all into sciencey stuff. And I am writing an article on this, trying to bring it all down to our 3 to 5% brain level. But suffice it to say that every near-death out-of-body experience, every mental illness person, I mean, everything from dementia to depression to bipolar, schizophrenia, multi-personality disorder, they are not ill as in a disease.
Or sickness.
They're not, it's not a sickness. It is a spiritual aspect of life that they are actually privy to. Whereas the rest of us in the regular working society world who, you know, follow the rules are not. Now I will say, every single one of us, no matter who it is, we all do experience near-death out-of-bodies in our sleep. Because basically when we sleep, when we hit that REM state, there's a gamma frequency that opens up that paralyzes your body and consciousness.
A deep sleep.
Yeah, so when you're paralyzed, your consciousness and your body's paralyzed, you are gone. You are free out there doing whatever you do, go home, visit, you know, whatever. So your body is free of its spirit soul to travel and do whatever, and that's what we call dreams. They're not dreams, they're actual experiences. So this is the way spirit communicates with us at all times.
Yeah.
The only problem with humans is that we do not see that and apply it to our daily lives. So if we knew that every, you know, moment of depression we had was, okay, well, spirit's telling me something, you know, I've got to focus on something, and you'll always get a confirmation of what that is. Or if you smell grandma, you know, I had a client whose grandmother smoked cigars. And she says, I will smell cigars in my house just periodically, all the time since she died. That cell has been spiritually activated to allow you to connect, to be able to smell that spiritual world. Same thing with hearing. I hear, you know, divine music playing and there's nothing, you know, logical. That one of those creation cells have been activated, so you are allowed to hear that. Same thing, sight, third eye, crown, heart. That's those moments where it just starts pouring out of us.
Right.
That's spirit activated.
Okay.
And your microbiome, your gut, that's what keeps everything in order. That is actually your electromagnetic field that goes actually around your body. It's this constant flowing force of energy, and it is there that all that energy stimulates the heart, the throat, the nose, the ears, and it reconnects up there. So we're never disconnected from the above. Does that make sense to you?
It does, totally.
Does it? I'm trying to see, did I explain it? Do I need to say anything else?
Very interesting.
So give me a briefie, like what did you just gain from that? How do you understand what I said?
Well, those 8 cells is how we're connected.
Yes.
And how you explained it was, you couldn't have done a better job. How each one, and it's so true, people say all the time, you know, the visual, I saw a penny, and that means, or I saw a cardinal, or there's just, everyone has.
There are points of connectivity.
Yes. And then the whole aura thing is,
electromagnetic
you know,
field.
everybody senses that. But I never heard it explained that they're the 8 cells.
They're the 8 cells of creation.
Solely
creation.
And when you're being created in the womb.
Yes.
And
because, good point. See, I knew if I asked her, something else would come up. Good point.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it was shown to me, was that, let's say when you get pregnant, you have a cell in the womb.
Right.
It's just a cell.
Yeah. And all of us
It's
were
a cell.
just a cell.
Just a
all
cell.
Of us were.
We didn't come in with arms and stuff.
No.
That
absolutely.
cell was coded and guided by spirit. It was coded to know, I think I better grow some arms, I better grow some legs, I better grow some eyes and ears and nose and all these sensory systems. So the divine code is already in the cell when it comes into conception.
Wow.
It's the 8 cells of creation, the sensory system, that actually grows those parts.
Yeah.
The skin, the
Right.
bones, the blood, everything. Because it's those 8 cells that spirit is saying, okay, this is your direction. Okay, this is what you do. So it's being fed.
Right.
So when people say creator, God, whoever created humans, they did. But they didn't create human. They created the cell that is encoded with those 8 creation cells, which help that being develop into, what are we? Sensory beings.
Yes. Wow. Don't you wish you were taught that in school?
I wish I was taught half this stuff.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, all this stuff coming through, because it sure would have saved a life of upset, trauma, you know,
and
all
just
this.
understanding yourself
The body.
as
And spirit.
well, and others.
Well,
because
and
we're all, not the same. We're all individuals.
No, every
so
cell.
that whole code.
I always say every cell is a
description.
snowflake.
Yeah. Oh my.
But the greatest thing is about this that I came back when I learned it, and I finally, trust me, it took a while to wrap around the brain on this one. But when I finally understood it, I realized that we have only been shown here by man how to live biologically.
Yeah.
They skipped the whole spiritual living process. Okay? But this allowed me to see how to live spiritually.
Yeah.
So I was like, trust me, every time I get an itch on my third eye or something, I'm paying attention. Every time I hear something out of normal, I'm paying attention because I know that spirit saying, hey, look over here. We've got something that is important. But if we lived our lives like that, just knowing, or you get a tickle in your throat, that's my signal. Either you're saying too much or you're not saying the right thing.
Oh, wow.
So I've related my biological being as a spiritual being in communion with the senses that my body receives. Not my brain, but my body.
Sure.
So if my ears itch, let's say my left ear itched, my left is physical, my right is spiritual. So I would immediately go, okay, I'm not hearing something physically correct. Something physically is not aligning. Also, very often I'll get that high-pitched frequency tone in my right ear. That spirit bringing my attention to listen to the sound. Listen. My eyes are another big one. That'll be a whole other story for another podcast. But my eyes, again, left, physical, right, spiritual. I correlate every one of my senses with the physical plane or the spiritual plane. And that allows me to guide myself. So if I'm talking too much, my throat will dry out and I'll get all hoarse and scratchy, and I know, said enough.
Okay.
So I take all those sensory systems and communications and I use them to live by.
That's great. I mean, honestly, we should all live that way.
Well,
what harmony would
well, and that's
there
what
be?
you said. Why didn't we learn this when we were younger? Because that is not the way this dimension works. It's just not. Shoulda, coulda, woulda has no.
Yeah.
There's just no consciousness for that.
Spirituality is.
We are spiritual beings.
Yeah.
We are sensory beings. This thing is just the house. It's just the car we're driving.
Our cavity.
Yeah, but so the 8 cells of creation are the origin of creation. They are the very first 8 cells that were ever manifested into existence from the origin, from
the fetus,
creator, all that is, whatever that first thing was. Those 8 cells were the first cells, and they were all sensory related. Again, we're going to go back to the universe.
Yeah.
The universe, vision, you got sun, you've got planets, you see all the planets, you see all the stars. Hearing, that sound frequency. Smelling, and taste, swallowing, it's air, it's breath. So every one of our senses matches up with every single universal creation. So everything in space is us, and everything we are can also be found in space. Yeah, it's deep and mind blowing,
Yeah.
but
Wow.
these are 8 protected cells, and humans cannot mess with them. And
Which
I call
is
that
probably why we're not taught them.
yes, because you can't manipulate them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or that's amazing.
So I call that God's.
So now I'm 62 years old,
I know, right?
and
We're going, wow.
yeah, we learn something new every day. But that should have been
We
explained to us.
We
as
should have been
young-
taught that we are sensory
Yeah.
electric beings, because we are.
Sure.
And you learn this in biology. I mean, I learned it when I took my EMT course.
Yeah.
You learn this stuff, but you have to
not-
want to
not
learn it.
Spiritually, you don't learn it.
No.
So that's what
No.
I mean. It's man taught
Mhm.
rather than
Yeah.
spirit. Yeah.
So in other words, we are taught to be human here,
Mm.
minus the spirit self. And these 8 cells of creation basically laugh at that and say, no, it's
Yeah.
reversed. You are spirit self, and you go here to play
Yeah.
as a human. But you will never ever change, because those 8 cells never have changed since the origin of time.
Unbelievable.
And humans can't mess with them, thank God. That's God's protection button.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is strictly spirit's domain, those
Mhm.
8 cells. You can do whatever else you want with the body,
Yeah.
scientifically, medically, consciously, intelligently. You can play with the whole body, but you
Mhm.
cannot touch those 8 cells.
No.
And if they are visible, actually read an article where science found some of these cells,
Mm-hmm.
which baffled them, and that they were able to view them, but then they would also disappear.
Here.
And that's the invisible part of it.
Okay.
I think maybe when they are visible by science, I think maybe that cell is active. It's activated. But if they're dormant and they're not activated,
Mm-hmm.
they're invisible.
Yeah.
But so anyway, that was a deep one.
It was, and not
Do you-
everything's scientific.
No, everything's
You know,
spiritual.
and
We just make it
yes,
scientific.
Yes, because okay.
Do you have any question on that? Any
Yeah, I just
thing
wish.
that pops?
I just wish we were given a balance of it and how they, could
Well,
help.
I will say that's where you go relying on humans and
Yeah.
man, and that's
You
where
have to be more
we
spiritual.
yes we have to rely on the
Mm.
spirit self
Gotcha.
connected with the spiritual being to teach
Yeah.
us, because what we're here is only temporary. It's not
Sure.
eternal.
Sure.
So anything we think we know here is all just it's going out the window.
Right.
Useless. But if we turn our focus to Creator, all that is, and communicating with that entity, not only will we activate those 8 cells
Mhm.
and increase our sensory
Sure.
perception, we won't be affected by this world to have to be diagnosed with anything,
Yeah.
because we're spiritual electrical beings
Mm-hmm.
from the beginning and end, and that's where we return to.
Yeah. That's
So,
powerful. Very
um,
powerful.
So I didn't think I was going to be able to reference this, but I am. So Spirit is showing me that, not that you'll be able to activate these centers,
Right.
but by manipulating them, you will show Spirit that you are interested in your spiritual self and being, and that you want to connect with all that is the origin by stimulating. So you could just massage your head, tug your ears, do your nose, do your throat, play with your eyes, your third eye, stimulate those areas
Heart.
to let Spirit know, I'm interested in my spiritual connection.
Mm-hmm.
You won't activate them. Spirit does that.
Yeah.
But at least you'll be showing that you are interested in connecting
Sure.
and wanting to experience that aspect of yourself that is so
Right.
well hidden.
Yeah, and how positive it is for your well-being.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
You know,
If for nothing more than just
Yes.
self-massage, you know.
yeah.
But
Well,
okay, well,
I will be doing that.
yep. I hope that covers the question.
Certainly.
It was a great question, and actually,
Mhm.
I'd forgotten about that being written in my book until my most recent near-death out-of-body experience, and it came back up again. But I was actually talking to clinical psychologists and scientists about it to try and find some kind of physical correlation. But
Right.
so I'm grateful for that question, because that actually just feeds my work even more.
Yeah. And how well it would answer any questions
Mhm.
pertaining to they'll back and forth,
Yeah.
but it's not what happens, and we
Mhm.
wished it was.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times the scientists can't even find them. They don't even know
Yeah.
they exist. I know when I came back with this information, I did hop online to see if any scientists had found them, and they did, but it was only 2 or 3 scientists that were working on it.
Right.
But they didn't do any more because they go invisible. They couldn't find.
Yeah.
So
And that's spiritual too, I'm
that's
sure.
spiritual too. Yes. Yep. If it's not needed right now,
No.
it disappears.
Mm.
But okay, well, thank you for whoever wrote that question.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
That was
Thanks,
great.
and have a great day. Thanks for
Bye-bye.
listening.
See you later.
Bye.